to make the clones intersect, then there is a deformer. There is an effector I can use, is the move and push apart effector. And if I set a radius, I can tell them to push apart like this. So I can make some of the collisions or hide apart or just scale apart. So if I go, for example, back to surface mode and I increase the count, like, I don't know, I increase it to 200, which is a lot, I can avoid intersections, but I need to set the radius correctly. If I want a perfect solution, I can show you how you can pack these circles. You need to use the collision tag. It's a simulation thing, and you have to use simulation to solve that. I show you in a new file because it's a common question that usually come up. I create a new document, and I set up a few cylinders without any caps, okay? And I create a MoGraph cloner, and not this way, but I want a honeycomb array and the XZ plane like this, and I want to make them big, and I make them intersect. And now let's say I want to change random effector. This is it. And I want to change not only their position but their scale too. I press the uniform scale button and set the absolute scale, so I'm sure they won't be smaller, only bigger. And I set the default radius a little bit smaller. So let's say I go with this one. And now I need to set a simulation tags, and I set rigid body. If I do this, they will just blow away, because there is a force, the gravity, and some other forces with the bouncing and the collision forces. So I set the force to follow position to 100, follow rotation to 100, linear damping to 100, and the angular damping to 100 as well. And after I did this, they start to push apart each other. But I need to fix the y-axis, and I don't want to scale on the y-axis. So I need to set up a restriction tag. And I don't know where is it, because here it is, region text restriction, no restriction, protection, sorry. bridging and protection. And I want to protection, and I want to protect know the position, the Y scale, and the pitch. No, the banking. Only the banking. This is how it looks. So when I run the animation, okay, so no rotation at all. And no Y randomize. Or it's the Z. I never know. But it looks okay. And now I can increase the width now because it works fine. My setup works fine. I just need a little bit more time to let them arrange. So if I just type, for example, 300 frames and grow the time scale. So this is the circle packing. I need to increase the rotation segments a bit more because the packing is not precise. Not precise enough. Let's say I give them 20. Don't go too high with it because you will have slowdown. So this is the setting of the circle packing. But how do you get a spline? Let's say I press the C button or the current state to object, and with the middle click I just select them all and press connect objects plus delete to make them one object. And now I offset them a little bit with the normal move. I want to create a little space between them, okay? Like this. And now I have this circle packing. The only thing I have to do now is to make a cut, a plane cut. And world X, Z, and plane cut here in the middle. Sorry, I need to check on select cuts like this. Now, if I did everything well, it should work fine. Yes. So I have this spline with a good circle packing. And now I can distort it, I can extrude it, I can do everything what I want with them. Like, for example, I grab my magnet tool, my favorite magnet tool, and I start to distort them a little bit. Like this. I make it a little bit bigger, 2000 centimeters. make it look a little bit dynamic. Give it a little bit dynamic look. Good. And now I put it into a extrude surface and set it to 0. And you can only extrude 0, 0 with close spline, so I have to click on the close spline button. And after this you can delete some of them if you want. Make a little bit space. I don't like it really much. Don't like it that much. But it has a really good flow, and I like this flow. And I like the distribution of the circles. It gives us a really organic look. I like it really much. And now I select Control Edge, I transfer the edge, and I delete the inner polygons. And after this I grab my brush tool, polygon brush tool, and set it to smooth. And with the smooth option I can make good transition in their size. Let's see. Oh, it's okay. Even more. So I give even more an organic look to it. I can even pull them up with the magnet tool, but only on the y-axis. I turn the z-axis off like this. But okay, it's just maybe a park a design, you know, with trees and benches and spaces. I didn't even decide the scale of this whole thing. I'm just doing some form experiments, nothing more. Just simple form experiments. By the way, when it comes to easy circle packings, you can do it by hand as well. It's not that hard. You're just copying the circles, because it's easy. It's always easy to move them or delete them or replace them. But there are of course hard circle packings problems like in graphic design, where you can use shader effectors, shader effect like things. Actually, let me show you something. I know, like, if you want to create an image like this, you need precise mathematical calculations on it. But there are circle packing generators on the internet, by the way. It's not necessary to circleify, as this is it. circleify. Mean radius 1, max radius 400. And there are many padding between circles, max detail, circles per frame, image scale 1, padding between circles, let's say 0.1. Let's say 0. And detail blur width, detail yeah, now it's really dense here, real dense. Circle style, dark ring, light ring, just ring, or outline. Let's say solid. Yeah. Detail blur passes 10. And detail blur width, let's say it's 10. Because it's not too dense then. And for graphic design you can download it easily without any problem. By the way, if it comes to a bit easier design, you can create images with the cloner. I show it to you. Like for example, you have a cube like this. You put it into a MoGraph cloner and you create a, let's say, a grid array. And no, I create a plane because it's easier to handle. I put 20 by 20. Display with the wireframe mode, and I will clone to the plane. Object, plane, and polygon center. And it will be really so these cubes are really, and I need more. It's not enough. Let's say it's 30 by 30. I decrease the cube size even more. And now with the shader effector, there's a shader effector. MoGraph effector, shader effector. And I don't want to use the scale effector. Let's say only the rotation. Let's say the rotation, or let's say the position. And I want to use not this position, but this position. Yeah, let's say 20 position, fall off, and I use a shader field. And oh no, I don't have to use shader field because I don't want to use it. I don't want to fall off it. So now I put a material to it like this. So here is my plane. I grab a picture, an image. Let's say this one. and I make it a little bit wider. Yeah. And if I turn it back, I need to adjust the cube size, the X size, yes. And I turn it off now, grab my shader effector and custom shader, and I set it to color. And I put the material tag here. And it will try to move the cubes where the picture has dark information. From far you can see what's happening, right? You can see the image. Or let's say I give it more subdivision, let's say 50 by 50. I get this effect. I go to the clones, I set them to multi-instance because if I don't do this, the instances will too heavy. And the multi-instance is working better in this case. I make it a little bit smaller to get this pixelated look I want. And there is my image. Can you see the image?
Yes. It's not.
Yes, sure.
So this,
Yeah.
from this to this, with only with clones and shader effectors. It's amazing. I really love this. By the way, of course, you can use fall off on this. I don't see the point like using the shader effector on this, but you can use. Field effector on this, but you can use it if you want. It can be a graphic or on a performance, graphical performance design, or projection mapping to walls. You can even animate them. This is what's happening. It's even mapping the color to the cubes. What if I turn off the Z? Yeah. And I turn off the spherical field I deleted. I don't need it. I want to see the whole picture. And the more clone I have, the more detail we get. Of course. I can change it to disks as well, of course. So this is the pixelated look. I can set scale, for example, instead of position, and I set scale rotation as well. It's really cool stuff. There is a design like this, by the way, but from Grammatio Kohler. There is a brick wall where they used textures to rotate the bricks, and they got these rotated bricks to give a piers, a texture of piers from a wine field, or what is it? I don't know. A field of a winery. But to reach that, of course, you need to use not a polygon center, but an edge cloning system, and you cannot use disks, only cubes, because you need brick structure to reach it. And you can go like this, so I have to turn off the align clone option. And after this, I have to and now I have this. I need my rotation value. Here I have it. But I want it to be inverted. So I may... No. I need to invert this image. I want it to be inverted. Maximum 0, minimum 100. Yes, now it's an inverted picture. And now I try to... No, I don't like this. But of course, it can only be built by KUKA robot arms. I think there's an invert function somewhere. No, it only work with fields. Okay, I figure it out later. Not that important now. But if I set my shader to now I can have this effect. So now there is no color on the bricks, only the rotation of the bricks gives us the image back. That's good. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show you today. And I would like to ask you to create a parametric wall yourself. It can be a separator wall, and it can be a perimeter wall, but I would like you to use this technique and try some new things with it you didn't do before. Get some inspiration from the best architects. I don't know, like Ajay or something like that, and try to figure it out. How does it work? And try to create a parametric structure. I'm really excited. What would you come up with for this task? It's really interesting. Next week I want to go into the school to meet you personally. Is that possible, or you will not be there?
Yeah, come.
Yes, of course.
You will there?
Yes.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah, of course.
Then the next consultation will be in the school next week. Okay.
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 I haven't been to my own school for a month. No, for 2 months. I haven't been there for 2 months.
Wow.
You know, that's my workplace. And I haven't been there for 2 months. I give all my session online. I give all my sessions online. And of course, my own project, I work my own project from home.